to talk to you about, again, one of the finest educational institutions in this region is Dr. Geraldine Perri. If you could come up, we'd appreciate it. Dr. Perri, do you want to hold this or do you want it in the crate? Okay.
And let's not have this count as part of my 10 minutes. Well, thank you, and thank you to the Chamber for the opportunity to be here today. I think this is a great event. We get to find out what's happening in town, but not only that, we get to collaborate and connect with one another. So thank you again, and Gary, thank you for all these great tips, all the things we're learning about the city. I'll have to talk to my husband about that naming, how Glendora was named, and see what we can do. I don't know, maybe a room in my house could have my name on it. Or maybe I could at least have a room he doesn't go in. Well, today I have a lot to tell you about Citrus College, and I know he's timing me, and I'm a New Yorker, so I can speak fast, so that doesn't mean anything to me, but I hope you can listen to as quickly as I speak. I want to begin today by first acknowledging our board president and thank her for her leadership, Dr. Pat Rasmussen, who's with us today. As many of you know, these are changing times for higher education. If one thing is a constant in higher education, it's that change is happening all the time. All you have to do is take a look at the national newspapers, state newspapers, or local or television, and you see something new happening in higher education every day. And the reason for that is we're finding that across the nation, students are not performing. Students are not graduating at the rates they should be graduating, and many students are coming to college underprepared. Many of you know from hearing me speak over the years that we've been taking measures at Citrus College to really address student success, student access, and student completion. In 2012, Citrus College challenged itself to be a college of completion. We wanted to get everyone on board, faculty, staff, students. We all signed a pledge, and we committed to increase the number of students completing college at Citrus College. We put a lot of strategies in place. We changed some practices, some policies, and things are going in a good direction. Today, I'd like to share with you some of the different innovative strategies we have in place and basically give you a little more in-depth information about them, because you probably hear about some of them and go, what is that? So first off, I'd like to tell you that at Citrus College, we have a specific area of the college that does nothing but look at completion, and it's called the Institute for Completion. And we've been studying models throughout the nation on completion. We've been looking at the statistics of our own students in terms of what classes they perform well in, where they don't perform well, when they drop out, why they're dropping out. And we also look at students coming to Citrus College. We actually have scorecards on all of the different high school districts that come to us, and we track the students. We track them when they come in, we track them before they come in, and we have the outcomes on all of the students from each of the different districts that come to us, K through 12, and we monitor to see what innovations we can put in place to help the students be more successful. One of the most recent things that we've done in alignment with the change in legislation is we're now offering classes at the high schools, and this is called dual enrollment. Right now we have 22 classes in the various high schools throughout the district, and high school students at their own high school campus can take Citrus College classes with the Citrus College faculty teaching them at the high school. They also have a range of services that Citrus College students are provided, whether it's going to our labs, our library, counseling, health center, they can have those services as well. I want to let you know that some students have taken up to 50 college units and are graduating high school with 50 units and needing only 10 more units to have an associate degree before they leave high school. And the students who are taking the high school classes are performing at the level or better than students on campus at Citrus College. So the program is working out well in terms of support services. Something you've probably heard about is multiple measures of assessment. This is what happens when you go back east to visit the family for the holidays. And it's, 15 degrees in New York City, and you left sunny California. Basically, you've probably heard about remedial education, developmental education. There's news, the CSUs changing their policies. Well, we've been proactive in this area, and we've been looking at assessment. Many students that come to Citrus College take an assessment test for English and math, and very often they do not place at collegiate level, which means they come in having to take classes, sometimes 2 and 3 levels of English and math before they get up to their first college level class. You can imagine how long that makes the runway to an associate degree, which is still a 2-year degree. If you add math and English, several years of it, you'll find typical students across the nation graduating a community college in 6 years. Well, over the last year and a half, we put a pilot project in place, and we decided to look at the statistics and the research on multiple measures of assessment. Right now, we have a cohort that came into Citrus College. They were tested in English and math, but we also took into consideration their high school GPA, highest level math class in high school, highest level English class in high school, and I want to tell you that there was a significant change when we looked at multiple measures versus just their assessment test. 26% of the students with multiple measures of assessment were placed in a transfer level English, 26% more. As well, 21% more students were placed in transfer level mathematics if we looked at multiple measures and not just the assessment test. So starting this fall 2018, all students coming into Citrus College will be placed in English and math based on multiple measures of assessment and no longer a single test. And I think that will shorten the runway of community colleges to an associate degree. But those students who test or through multiple measures still don't place at collegiate levels, the runway has been shortened for them. We now have a 1 or 2 unit co-requisite class that you take with your first collegiate level English or math class that provides you with the skill sets needed so you can be successful. So we're anticipating this will contribute to student success, given that it will decrease the number of courses they have to take. We have a program called Early Decision, and this is a program that is specifically for our high school students. We reach out to high school students in their senior year, and we basically give them the opportunity to take their test early, to come over for a workshop, orientation, fill out an application, do their financial aid, sign an agreement that they're going to come to Citrus College, and we provide them with priority enrollment. So they get to enroll before all other students, and if you know anything about getting your classes on the day and time you want them, and what class you want, priority enrollment is precious. So many students throughout the district, Citrus District, have been participating in Early Decision. I'm pleased to let you know that last year, 197 students from Glendora Unified participated in Early Decision, and that's a very high number. We started off with a limit of only 50 students can come in and get priority enrollment. And Rob has been very good at calling and saying, can you up it by about like 10 more? We're now at 197, Rob. We started at 50. But then I got a call from Charter Oak, and they're not even in our district, and don't tell Mount San Antonio College, but we also have 26 students from Charter Oak who participated in Early Decision, and I'm glad to see Charter Oak part of it, and we welcome you, and we'll probably up the number, Mike, if you call us again. Well, that's one thing, getting the students to Citrus College through Early Decision, having them decide in their senior year, get all prepared, and I forgot to mention, as part of Early Decision, their parents are invited to Citrus College for a series of workshops also on higher education and college and navigating their student through the collegiate experience, just so we have a partnership, parent and their student. Once they get to Citrus College, these Early Decision students are given a wonderful opportunity. We now invite them to join us in another program, which we call IWCC, I Will Complete College. And if they sign a pledge to be in the IWCC program, they get 2 years of priority enrollment. They get to have a specialist who works with them. We have a team of people who are called completion specialists and their job is to get their cohort of students through college on time. So when students sign up to be part of IWCC, they get intensive support services, financial incentives, and a host of other referral services as part of the cohort they're in. They also get lots of moral support. They also get lots of text messages from their completion specialist, who's probably 2 or 3 years older than them and can relate to them on social media. And didn't you show up for tutoring today? Did you go to counseling? Did you do this? It's worse than their parent. It's their completion specialist. Well, the model is working because they've taken well to their completion specialists. They all have teams, they all have t-shirts, they all have names for their teams. And if you see them walking around campus or someone tells you they're in IWCC, they're not in some fighting club, they're in the I Will Complete College Club. Well, from Glendora, I want to say, out of the 167 students who were early decision students, 94 of them signed a pledge, and they're part of the IWCC completion program. From Charter Oak, 12 of the 26 students are in the intensive program and now getting priority enrollment for 2 years. Well, something else that we found is that students basically complain a lot about registration red tape. Every semester I have to enroll again, I have to register, get classes, it takes time, I have to wait online. So we said, well, what can we do about it? They said, well, can't we register for the year at once? We said, the whole year at once? Well, anyway, we now have dual registration. Imagine being able to register for both semesters in one shot. So students get to register at Citrus College in advance, and the good thing for them is we don't charge them fees for the next semester until the next semester comes around, but they get to hold their classes in place, the schedule they want. So imagine planning ahead of time, and in the fall you're registering for fall and winter. In winter you're registering for spring and summer. The numbers in terms of student enrollments have jumped up significantly, and we think this change in practice has really led to that. We all know that for students to have an effective community college experience, what happens in the classroom is very important. Something students told us is they really liked having someone assist them while they were in that math class, not understanding what was going on. So now within classes, we actually have structured study groups in the class, and we have embedded tutors in the class with the instructor. So you have an instructor teaching the class, and there's a tutor there as well, and the students are in different little groups where they break out into different exercises, and the tutor can assist the faculty member, and so the experience is really enriched now because you have support services in that classroom. As well, we're working with our faculty. We started a series for our faculty to learn how to engage students in the classroom. It's not like it used to be. You can't get up and just lecture students for an hour. Not anymore. You have to basically engage them, and most of the time we're engaging them by having them take out their iPhone and look up something or play a video for us. So our faculty have a series on student engagement where they're meeting informally to tell one another about the strategies that are working. I got to name the series, and tell me what you think of it. It's come to the series, and you get this when you come to the series. You get coffee and conversations, followed by donuts and dialogue, and then tea and talk. So that's our informal series on student engagement. And it's really building and really fun to come out to, especially when you come out and you go, okay, this is donuts and dialogue. I see the donuts, it's tea and talk. We also have a more formal program for our faculty, and we have a 1-year professional development program for full-time and part-time faculty, where faculty get to develop a plan to work on strategies for improvement, where faculty learn some of the latest research and theories on student engagement. So that's something more formalized, and that's working out well at Citrus College. Lastly, a new program that we're about to unveil, we'll unveil it officially in March with our K through 12 partners. We are putting the Citrus College Promise program, which will start in the fall. And the Citrus College Promise program is to help those who are financially challenged have access to higher education. Our Citrus College Foundation, our director is here, Chris Garcia, wave your hand. I'm having her wave her hand because the foundation agreed to sponsor the Citrus College Promise program. So there'll be fundraising for this program where students can come to Citrus College and have their education, their fees, and other fees paid for by the College Foundation with some support from the state as well. There'll be a specific commitment from the students. It's a different promise program than many others. It's a 2-year promise program where we'll pay your fees for 2 years, but the students have to basically be full-time students, take 15 units per semester, see their counselor every semester, and maintain a GPA of 2.0 to be in the Citrus College Promise Program. Remember, we're doing these things to motivate them towards success and to push them along. So there's a price they have to pay when we pay the price to have them there. So I want to just share with you some of the evidence that these strategies are working. We conduct a lot of research. We track a lot of numbers at Citrus. We're very outcome-driven. We have 18 objectives we measure every year. We just wanted to highlight a couple of them. There's been a 3% increase in the number of first-time students who re-enrolled at Citrus College from their first semester to their second semester, taking the percentage to 84% persistence rate from one semester to the next, which is quite significant when you look at the statistics across the nation. We have focused on disproportionately impacted students as well, and we track all of our student groups. And we've noticed that students, African American males and Hispanic students, do not perform at the level of other cohorts in the institution. So we've done special interventions. We've had a 25% increase by African American males in both degree and certificate completion, 14% increase by Hispanic students in degree completion and certificate completions. Overall, for the entire institution, we had a 9% increase in certificates, and we also had a, 9% in degrees, 23% in certificate. So our statistics are really showing us, in terms of certificate degree completion, the numbers are going up. Most of you know we are really top in the state for transfer. In fact, Citrus College was just awarded an award from the state for having the highest statistics in the state, and came in second in the state for the number of students who transfer. And so I want to share with you that our transfer to UC has increased by 26% to the University of California. It's increased by 13% to the CSU system. And Citrus College, you all know, is a little over 100 years old. I like to say with the youngest superintendent. Okay, stop laughing. We're over 100 years old, and the statistics in terms of student transfer to UC and CSU are the highest ever in the college's history. So that's pretty significant for us. You know, I double, triple checked those numbers with my researcher, and after a while she said to me, Dr. Perri, I wasn't here 100 years ago, but I can tell you these are the highest numbers. She went back years and years and years, decades, and said they're the highest. You know, when I give a speech, I can't end a speech without bragging a little bit about Citrus College. If you didn't think I bragged yet, well, here I go. Nationally, Citrus College is ranked #1 in the United States for awarding associate degrees in multidisciplinary studies to Hispanic students, #1. And we're #2 in the nation for awarding associate degrees in social science to all minorities. And for the third consecutive time, Citrus College has been selected as one of 150 community colleges in the nation to apply for the $1 million Aspirin Prize for Excellence. And we're applying for a third time, and they say third time's a charm. So Glendora, cross your fingers. I hope we have good news for you next year. And I also wanted to let you know that near and dear to us locally, Citrus College was recognized as the favorite community college by San Gabriel Valley, and also voted best community college by Beacon Media. And I don't know of any other community college that has, as their board president, Glendora's community hero, Dr. Rasmussen. Well, as you can see, Citrus College continues to be part of the state and national movement to transform higher education and improve student success rates. I want to thank everyone in the city of Glendora for your support, but not only that, I want to thank each of you for your roles in the community, because you all contribute to making this a rich community, a community that students want to come to for their educational experience. I value the different partnerships that we have in this community. The college keeps our police department in our city very busy, and I thank you for all of that support that you give to us. Once again, thank you for what you do and for being a part of this great community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Voors and Dr. Hendricks. Your time has been used, so we'll move on to State of the City. No, I'd like to introduce Dr. Voors to you, one of the key figures in our community, and that helps actually educate, one of the members of our community that help educate these fine children that end up at Citrus College. So, Dr. Voors, there you go.
Thank you. I'd like to start by asking Jerry if we can get 10 more spots. Just this year. We did have a lot of changes in Glendora this year, in Glendora Unified, and some of those are in the board. And when you lose a board member like Dr. Gomer, who's been there for 20 years, it's always tough. He's such a great leader, but we got some great ones coming in. And so I'd like to make sure we introduce one of them who's here today, Zandra Board. Please stand up, Zandra. We also have our board president, Mara Muravito, and vice president, Robin Merkley, here with us. And I'm going to hurry because Gary said I only have 3 minutes left. But, we also have our 3 assistant superintendents, and they lead the 3 divisions in the school district, the Ed Services, Business, and Personnel divisions. Mark Chaldu in Business, Michelle Hunter in Ed Services, and the newly minted Dr. DeGrazia in Personnel. We also have our co-presidents of our Ed Foundation, Daniel Boyer and Elizabeth Reuter, and we're very glad to have them here. I promise not to introduce any more, but I do want to make a special mention that our board members now will have 5-year terms. Like all the other school districts in California, due to the Voter Participation Rights Act that was passed, we have to move our elections from odd numbered years to even numbered years. So there won't be a board election in 2019. That will move to 2020, and those board members therefore enjoy not a 4-year term, but a 5-year term. So we're very lucky to have the folks that we have. I'm going to just cover a couple areas today because Vaughn terrified me last year standing here when we got to like 9 minutes and made us leave at 10. So I cut a lot out. But I will always start with academics, and I want to share that we have 7 California distinguished schools and a model continuation high school. That's not a taken for granted type of thing, so I want to mention that each time. And you may remember that Cullen and Stanton Elementary Schools applied for the California Gold Ribbon Award a couple of years ago, and they did get that award. We had a chance for our secondary schools to apply for that last year, and both middle schools did, and both middle schools, both Goddard and Sandburg, did receive the California Gold Ribbon Award. We're very proud of that. Our reputation continues to be strong, not only in California, but really throughout the nation. And in fact, I could leave this off, but it's such a good award that I hate to do that because it seems a little routine, but we've also been recognized, Glendora High School has been recognized by Newsweek, Washington Post, and U.S. News and World Report once again as one of the top high schools in the entire United States. Glendora is also recognized by the College Board as a District of Distinction and has a history of large numbers of students who access the advanced placement program, and they do very well. Well, now we've started offering the prestigious Capstone program for students who take at least 7 AP courses and successfully complete 2 Capstone courses. And then they will receive the AP Capstone designation on their high school diploma. We've also been named by the College Board to the 8th Annual AP District Honor Roll by the College Board. And this is achieved by increasing the access to your AP courses, and not only increasing access, but increasing the achievement, which is very difficult to do. In fact, only 447 districts in the U.S. and Canada made college, and as she mentioned, can graduate eventually with up to 60 credits. Incredible. We also have a partnership with the Azusa Pacific University. They will provide $10,000 each year in scholarship opportunities to our students who qualify, also waive some of the fees, and we're working right now to craft a similar program with the University of Laverne. We continue to increase also our students' exposure to career and technical education in our schools and offer pathways in architectural design, video production, graphic design, and robotics. And we've also, just this semester, just last week, launched the Cisco Academy at Glendora High School. In athletics, we continue to excel in Palomares League. It's our 4th year with Ayala, Bonita, Claremont, Diamond Bar, and South Hills. And after each season of sport, you've probably seen it in the paper, we have a number of students who move on to push their athletic career into the colleges and universities throughout the country, and we usually have a half a dozen or so students that are able to do that. And as much as we've had a lot of success in all our sports programs, I want to share that our girls basketball program, last year we were league champions and finalists, CIF finalists, played at the Honda Center. And this year they're 20-0. They have not lost. They are fun to watch. They are incredible. They are high energy, hair on fire, up and down the court type of basketball team. And we've had 1,000 points scored in the history of the school in girls basketball. We have 2 on this team, Alexis Loudon and Michaela Tilton. And there's one girl, Michelle Cannon, who's about 3 points away from becoming a 1,000 point scorer. So 3 on the same team. They score a lot of points. All that being said, we also have our challenges. Because of the way revenue is distributed in California and in this great state, we are down at the bottom 30% compared to other school districts in the state. And that presents a significant challenge for us in the LCFF model, because it's a distribution model, not an adequacy model. In addition to that, the state has required school districts to increase the contribution to employee retirement systems from 8.5% a few years ago to over 20% in 2020. As you can imagine, that's a huge impact on our budget, and virtually all new money that comes into the district is going towards increased retirement contributions to the state. Through one of our partners, Thought Exchange, we survey our entire school community to determine what they appreciate and also what concerns they have. This year, the results are not surprising and show that the top 3 things our community appreciates are its teachers, our communication with our families, and our leadership. As far as concerns, there were 2 things that came forward, and they were the same 2 that came forward last year. This time, 3 times more than anything else. That was the need for improved and modernized facilities and improved and updated technology. One facility improvement that we were able to do, and you saw it going up last year, were the solar-powered shade structures and parking covers at our school sites. Not only is that environmentally responsible, but it saved us over $100,000 in energy in the first year. The solar arrays will supply roughly 80%, 70 to 80% of our electricity, and due to the power purchase agreement we were able to craft, there was no out-of-pocket to either community members or the school district. And the people love the shade. But unfortunately, we can't address other facility needs in this way. Since 2012, exactly 500 school districts in the state, about half, have passed bonds to address their facility needs. In November, we failed to pass Measure GG, which would have provided $98 million to address the highest priority of over $200 million worth of identified needs. Although the measure didn't pass, the needs remain. We have portable classrooms in the district that had 15-year warranties that are now 25 years old and difficult to even repair. We can't hold home track meets on our varsity, and our varsity teams practice or play contests in other locations because our track and field are substandard. We have other technology, older technology, and inferior Wi-Fi capabilities to the point where it goes down if too many students try to access it. Our award-winning band, orchestra, and choirs don't have the rooms large enough to house the whole group, meaning they usually work in smaller groups and sectionals, or try and find available free space that will hold them. Our libraries and science classrooms are in desperate need of upgrading. So we've been reviewing the bond details, we've been talking with community members, we'll be surveying others, and we're following up on why the bond did not pass, why people supported it, and more importantly, why they didn't. So after a thorough review, the board will make a decision whether to either make an attempt in 2018, this November, or in 2 years from 2020, or find some other way, which is yet unknown, to solve these problems. Finally, we have a fantastic working relationship with the City of Glendora City Council, with all of their departments, and the spirit of volunteerism with our PTAs, our foundation, and our service clubs in Glendora is at the best. Our success is a direct reflection of that teamwork and the support of our community, and I want to thank you for allowing me to share about our schools, and you are essential parts of our success.
Wow, Rob, that was awesome, and kudos to that girls team. It leads me to another Glendora factoid, though. Did you know that in the city of Glendora, there's more girls than boys? 51 to 49, the girls were winning. So I'm glad that they're winning in basketball, too. Dr. Hendricks, could you come to the podium, please? Dr. Hendricks is the leader of the Charter Oak Unified School District, and I believe at last count, is responsible, I think our population is about a third. Is that about right of your school, or is that too many? Is that about right? Good to see you, sir. You're welcome.
Good afternoon. It's my great pleasure to serve as the superintendent of Charter Oak for the past 8 years. And I greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak to you about our school district. At our table, we have Dr. Don Davis, one of our board members, and Mrs. Jane Bach, also a board member. And we also have General Black, who's our assistant superintendent of instructional services. Dr. Ivan Myro is our director of adult education and career tech ed programs. And we have Sarah Fiala, our PTA council president. So thanks for being here. What I'd like to do today is share some current and future projects that we're working on, along with some accomplishments. Since many of our projects involve cultivating college and career-ready individuals, today I'm going to start with adult education and also talk about our district-wide career pathways. This past year, we created our own Charter Oak Adult Education School with the slogan, "Fuel Our Passion." Funded by $1.6 million in state funding, we offer classes at 7 different campuses. Under the direction of Dr. Iro, our program allows adults to earn industry-recognized certifications, complete a high school equivalency, and/or develop very important job skills. Some of the certification courses include Adobe Certified Associate Visual Design Specialist. A second certification course offered is Cisco Certified Network Associate. And that, and our third is certification is CompTI AA+. This is the most essential IT certification for establishing an IT career. The fourth certification, which is new for us, is Carpenter Trades. This course teaches up-to-date carpentry skills that are currently in demand. A new course offered this spring is Career Readiness. It focuses on soft skills, such as communication, teamwork, problem solving, self-management, and leadership. Some of the other adult ed community courses include family literacy, parent education, and weaving and spinning. Some of our academic courses include adult basic education, which prepares adults for the high school equivalency diploma, English as a second language at multiple levels, and the high school equivalency preparation, which prepares adults for the GED. Another expanding project for college and career readiness involves our 4 high school career pathways. 3 of the pathways are now certified by the National Academy Foundation, better known as NAF, which is a network of educators, businesses, and community leaders who work together to ensure high school students are college, career, and future ready. NAF has grown school academies in 36 states, and they focus on only the growth industries. Our NAF partnership is supported by the California Career Tech Ed Incentive Grant, which has provided us $1.1 million over the past 2 years in our Foothill Consortium that includes 3 other school districts. Later this month, we're going to find out if we are awarded approximately $4 million from the California Career Tech Ed Facilities Program, otherwise known as Prop 51, to enhance our facilities and equipment for our pathways. Just a little bit about our 4 pathways. Our first one is Games and Simulation pathway. Classes in this pathway include Introduction to Information Technology, Computer Systems, Video Games and Design, and Mobile Applications. The current labor market demand for jobs related to this pathway has grown at a rate of 11%. All our pathways are using a NAVTRAC certification system. The system validates the successful completion of the courses and provide internships. With this certification, high school graduates can benefit from NAVTRAC certified hiring, a commitment made by many American industries that help our students. Our second pathway is the Engineering Technology pathway. Courses in this pathway include Introduction to Engineering Design, Principles of Engineering, and Computer Integrated Manufacturing. This pathway was started 3 years ago at our Charter Oak High School with the adoption of Project Lead the Way, which engages students in hands-on activities and projects and empowers them to solve real-world challenges. According to the 2016 data generated by the San Gabriel Valley Economic Development Agency, construction and manufacturing now accounts for 25% of the employment in the San Gabriel Valley. Our third pathway is Biotechnology pathway, and its classes include Principles of Biomedicine, Human Body System, and Medical Interventions. All of our pathway courses are aligned to the CTE California Model Standards. The steady growth in the healthcare industry combined with resources of local universities and colleges have led to the growing science industry in our San Gabriel Valley. There are currently over 700 biotech companies in San Gabriel Valley. 18% of the jobs in the San Gabriel Valley are in the health services. And our fourth pathway is the Business Management pathway. It's in its 10th year and includes multiple courses such as Marketing and Advertising, Accounting and Finance Management, and Business Management. In their courses, students are working with a variety of software products such as Microsoft Suite and G Suite, which has a variety of applications that are appropriate for our students for that pathway. We do have prerequisite programs in our school district that feed into those pathways. At our middle school, at Royal Oak Middle School, we offer design and modeling, automation and robotics, flight and space, and medical detectives. Next year, we're going to expand that program to include computer applications creators, computer science for innovators, and science of technology courses. At our elementary grades, we offer 24 interdisciplinary modules in computer science, engineering, biomedical science that require our students' creativity and collaboration skills. Now, with the remaining time I have left, and I know Don's looking at his clock back there, I'm going to share some highlights for Charter Oak since our last meeting here. Academic achievement, using the statewide testing program, our scores for English language arts have gone up a little over 5%, 5.5%, and 3% in math over the past 3 years of our new test. Our International Baccalaureate program that's been in existence since 1986. This past year we had 20 students that earned the full IB diploma, and so they were able to start in the UC system at a sophomore year. For the Golden State Merit Diploma Program, 92 seniors received that last year. Just to give you an idea, the state average is 50 for high school. Our graduation rate was 99.3 last year. We've been over 99% for many years now. And our attendance rate, I think, is probably just as good here in Glendora, 97% district-wide, and state average is 87. We offer a lot of regional occupation programs, or VOC-Ed programs. We have 30 sections of ROP classes that serve a little over 700 of our students. Technology, we're ever so close to being one-on-one solution at our schools, and our schools use the technology for Google Docs and a whole variety of different software products for academic programs. History Day, I mentioned this each year, but we have a History Day and Science Fair program in LA County and statewide, and we're one of the few public schools in the area that participate in that. And we sent teams to Sacramento last year in both. In fact, we had one girl in our middle school who won first prize for a project that she did out of 682 projects in Sacramento. So that was, she won the top award for that. Robotics, we have a robotics team in Charter Oak, and they just competed in LA County, the top LA County tournament, and finished with a judges award, which is one of the top awards. Each year I talk about dramatic arts, and this year our middle school drama program, and I know you know we have a great one, won first place in the whole Southern California competition with about 1,200 students and 25 schools. It's the first time we've won first, and our high school placed fourth out of that competition, and they've all won a great variety of different awards at different festivals. Our choir, I know you've heard our choir around town. They perform all over the place at showcases in Magic Mountain and San Diego and San Francisco and downtown LA. And they've won top awards everywhere they go, and they've been invited back to Carnegie Hall next spring, so they're very excited about that. A little bit about sports. As you probably know, our football team won the league this past year. 16 of our sports team have competed in CIF competitions since I was here last year. Our head coach, Lou Gerard, for football was awarded the CIF Champion for Character Awards. 6 of our student athletes received the CIF State Spirit of Sport Award, and 21 athletes made the All-League with a GPA of 3.5 or higher. So that was really good. Just want to give a shout out about our holiday parade. It was our second year this year, and I want to thank those of you in the room that either sponsored or attended our parade, and it'll get bigger and better every year. Shout out to Mount Sac. They are a community college for Charter Oak, and they offer 12 different classes during our summer programs where our students can get credit through their institution. Citrus College, I want to thank you for allowing our students to get early entrance. I think we had 50, and so I'm up in the number a little bit. So I'll be talking to you about that. And I want to give a shout out to our Education Foundation. Mrs. Black is the chair of that organization. But they continue to provide great events for us, including the 5K and 1 mile run walk, turkey bowl, the 5th grade Knowledge Bowl Challenge, the Elementary March Madness Basketball League with the Covina PD, and the Hall of Fame dinner. And I know many of you in the room have participated in many of those events as well. And their money that they raise have gone to our technology programs, buying computers, Chromebooks, and also our drone program. PTA as well. I know you have a great PTA at the Glendora School District. We do too. And I'd like to thank Sarah and the PTA for all the fundraising they do to help supplement the lack of resources that we sometimes have. And I'd like to close actually. Thanks to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event, which gives us the opportunity to share a little bit about our school district. I'd like to thank the City Council and the staff at the Public Library, APU, Citrus College, and Glendora Service Clubs, and the local businesses for providing support to our school district. Just want to make one more mention. Dr. Iro, who's at the back table with us, has brochures, because he's paying me to market his program a little bit today, for adult education, in case there's not programs. We have some programs that maybe Glendora doesn't have. Please take a look at our brochures. And if you'd like to be a business partner for one of our career pathways, we're always looking for business partners to help with shadowing, job shadowing or internships, or just helping in with our curriculum. We have forms for that back there too, so if any one of those career pathways sparked your interest, please see Dr. Iro as well. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you. I get the honor of once a month meeting with Dr. Hendricks and Dr. Voors and Ms. Bach and Ms. Garcia to get these updates regularly for our business community, and it just amazes me the impact that our schools have on our community, and then selfishly they make my house worth more money than it really is. So I'm very happy about that too. The next person I'm going to introduce to you is our mayor, and I'll tell you his name in a minute, but when he's done with his mayor job, him and I are going to form a club of former mayors with the first name of Gary. I want to tell you that being the mayor of a community is really special, and it's being on a city council and being the mayor, you have the opportunity to represent the city, and I see Gary in probably 88 other city events as he represents our community. And one of the things, since this is a town of stewardship and half of the ministerial society is here today, I do want to confess that during my tenure on city council and mayor, although I really thought I was the mayor, we all have full-time jobs. You know, Gary runs a business, I ran a business, and what really happens in Glendora, because there's more women than men, is people would call my home, they would get a hold of Linda and her girlfriends and handle all the problems, they'd call the city manager and the job was done. So I just wanted to confess to that now and introduce to you our new mayor, Mayor Gary Boyer.
And I got to tell you, I got here and I talked to Joe and looked at the schedule, you know, the agenda of what we're doing today. And it said, Gary. I go, what the hell am I doing? All of this stuff here. And then you stepped up and took it over.
The other Gary.
Yeah, the other Gary. But I, you know, I'll share with you, I got to tell a story real quick because, you know, it's one of those things, we have the opportunity to talk in front of people all the time. And, you know, nobody likes to do this, but, you know, you're always a little bit nervous, but sometimes it's not a big deal. I know most of the people in the room. And, but you guys all dressed up today, which is a little bit scary, all except for Dave. I do appreciate you toning it down for me. But all of a sudden, the last few days, people are coming and going, are you okay? Are you nervous? Are you ready? Is everything okay? So then I'm a nervous wreck. And then I'm pulling out of my driveway at my office to head over here. And what do I see as I'm pulling out? Most of you know the guy that is walking down the street, walking his donkeys up in North Glendora around the village. This is what I run across. So I realize that life just really isn't that serious, so we can just relax. But, you know, every year, those of us that have been coming to this event for a long time, we come up here, we talk about a lot of things, we talk about a lot of numbers and statistics, and I'm going to do things a little bit different today. If you want that type of information, it's on our website. You can go, you can look it up, and you can deal with that. We always, you know, have a tendency to introduce all the dignitaries in the room, and we've done that. We've got Mendel and Karen are here today. Michael and Judy, they're actually up in Sacramento representing us. But today, I've invited a number of people here that I want to acknowledge, and I'm going to talk today a little bit more about people than I am about a bunch of numbers and stats. These are the guys that are actually out in the street. They're doing the work. They're digging the holes in the street. They're repairing the pipelines. They're cutting the grass at the parks. They're chasing down the bad guys. These are the people that make this city run on a regular basis. So, you know, you guys don't need to stand up, but I'm going to introduce you, and I want you to give a little wave, and hopefully you all have your speeches ready. I want to start by introducing our guy, Christy Giannoni is here from our Human Resources Department. Christy? And then I've got Craig Gill. Craig is here from our City Clerk Department. Penny Gondra is here, or she's not here, from the Finance Department. She's got the flu bug today, but appreciate what she does. Dina Lamarck is here from our Planning Department. Debbie Wood. Debbie is here from our Public Works Department. Kurt is here from the library. Kurt. And Detective Alex Stein. He's here representing our Police Department. And Hugo Solterra. I've got Hugo right up here in front from Community Services. And then, of course, Sonia Jones from the Administrative Department and the city. Now, I don't want you guys to get too excited. It's not about you, okay? Not about you today. You're here representing the various departments in the city because we've got a tremendous amount of really good people that work at the city. So many times, you know, we find ourselves when we talk about the city did this or the city did that. Well, it's not the city. Every organization is built by a number of individuals that do a lot of hard work to make things run. And so I want to talk about what these guys have done today and how important everybody that works at the city is to our everyday lives. I'll bet money nobody woke up this morning, jumped in the shower, and when you turn the spigot on, for those of you that live here in Glendora, when you turn the spigot on, nobody said, you know, Steve Patton and the guys over in the water department are doing a really good job because I got water coming out of my faucet. You don't think about it. You turn on the faucet, the water comes out. That's the way it's supposed to happen. Well, there are people behind all of that that do that and make that happen. You gotta excuse me, I'm going.
Yay, Steve Patton, got water.
Yeah, okay. That's right, thanks, Steve. But I want to talk a little bit about the different departments and what they do. I want to start with the Human Resources Department. You know, these guys have implemented a health benefit informational fairs for all of our employees, for your employees, for the employees that work here at the city. You know, they've made sure that they get the guys together, and actually there's one going on this afternoon. I saw an email come across to make sure that all of the employees understand all the benefits and everything that they have available to them. Now, this is a project that I'm sure Chris Jeffers was involved in, and Vicki Cross from Human Resources helped to spearhead. But it's people like Christy Giannone and the rest of the staff at Human Resources that implement these things for the various stuff that we do. And these are the guys that actually take care of this. And our city clerk's department, we think of the city clerk's department sort of as being the brains, the organizer at the city hall. But you know, these guys do so much more. You think of city clerk, they're the ones that they take care of all the documents, they make sure that everything is filed on time and so on, but they also are key in the communications between the residents of Glendora and the city. And a few things, Craig and his team, you guys have seen the Go Glendora episodes. If you haven't, you need to go online and watch those. We've got a new program called Inside Glendora that's been kicked off. But they've also been working this year on upgrading all of our audio-visual equipment in the city council chambers. For those of you that have absolutely no life and you actually watch the council meetings and the planning commission and community services, like Gary, hopefully, you know, you're seeing that the quality of the audio and the visual and the sound and everything is better in there. It's people like Craig, again. Kathleen Sespin was instrumental in spearheading this stuff. You know, Chris has his hands in a little bit of everything, but it's Craig and the other people that work in the city clerk's department that make this stuff happen. And I think it's important that we all take a look at that and we understand what these guys are doing. Over in our finance department, I skipped a paragraph earlier, but I'll get to it here. But over in our finance department, you know, one of the things, if you've heard me speak, I talk all the time about how the city has no money. In reality, the city government of the city of Glendora has no money. The people of Glendora, the residents that are here, you give us your money, and it's our responsibility to manage that money. Over in the finance department, June Overholt and her team, these guys are the ones that manage that money and they keep an eye on everything for us. To share a few things that they've done this year, they've made some major upgrades to our data center security and our backup systems. And they received an award for that from the Public Technology Institute. On top of that, they've been recognized for their municipal investment policy. That's their investment policy that they are investing our money in order to keep it safe and to make sure that it makes a little bit of money to help pay for things that we need to do. The other thing that Finance did this year is they instituted a new business portal. And this was huge here in the city because now when you want to do business, when you want to call a plumber, an electrician, or a realtor, okay, all you need to do, you go on our city's website and there's a business portal on there that you can look up to see if the person you want to do business with has a business license in the city of Glendora. If they don't, they shouldn't be doing business in Glendora. So it's something that I want to thank June. June has been a godsend to us to dumb things down a little bit so that we understand it. But Jenny and your team, the rest of the guys who work this, they have been instrumental in putting this stuff together, and it's really important to acknowledge that the amount of work that they've done. I look at our planning department. Jeff, where are you at? You're around here? There you are, okay. You know, the planning department is probably the most underappreciated department in the city of Glendora. When you stop and think about the amount of responsibility and influence the planning department has over our city and the future growth of our city, it's unbelievable that they do this with the small amount of staff that they have. They've accomplished a number of different things, but I'm really only going to talk about two of them because the two things you did, it would take most departments years to get done this year, but you know, they revisited the Route 66 specific plan and they began the implementation of an Arrow Highway specific plan for us that's going to determine the growth of our city moving into the future. Now, we can sit up here and we can talk all day long about whether the Avalon and the Motif project should have been built, whether we like them or not, but they're here. They are now part of our community, and I welcome the people that live there. They are now Glendorans, and it's important that we embrace that. I was talking to somebody and thinking about a number of years ago, and many of you have lived here for a long time, you remember, that there was a orange grove in the middle of town that was going to be converted into a condominium project, and it was extremely controversial, and a lot of people were really unhappy about it. That is now the Rancho Bougainvillea Townhomes, and we all consider it one of the premier communities here in the city of Glendora. So the Route 66 specific plan, the city council, the city management, we heard the concerns of the residents, took a look at it, we went back, we reviewed it. Jeff, his team, the planning commission, they got together, they held a number of different meetings with residents and reviewed that, and we've made some adjustments to it. And then we're looking forward to seeing the final results of the Arrow Highway specific plan. But these are just huge projects that these guys have done. And Debbie, let's see, I'm getting names mixed up. Dina Lamar. Dina, I don't think I introduced you, did I? Did I introduce you in the beginning?
I'm sure.
Oh, okay. But anyway, Dina Lamar, she works at the planning department. And, you know, her and the other people that worked there, they were instrumental in getting all of this done. Jeff takes the credit for everything. But for the most part, these guys get in there, they dig into this. The amount of legwork and everything that needed to be done to deal with reviewing those plans was astronomical. And you guys did a great job. Our Public Works Department. Public Works is the department that we really only think about when there's a problem. Right, Dave? Okay? You know, it's one of those things, if somebody got up and turned the faucet on this morning, you didn't have any water coming out, you'd be calling Dave. You know, we'd have a problem. But for the most part, it works every day. I've never had a problem with it. You know, I've got to tell you, they are responsible for the maintenance of all of the infrastructure in the city. They take care of all of the streets, they take care of the sidewalks, they take care of the water department. And again, they do it on a really tight staff. And it's just unbelievable what these guys are able to get done. One project we saw, and I don't know if it's completed yet, Debbie, are they done with all the street lights? Edison done with all the street lights yet?
All the replacements.
They're all done?
Just the one, the big project.
Oh, okay, just a big project. But as we saw around town, we had street lights being replaced all over town this year. I'm sure everybody noticed that, you know, the lights were being replaced. Well, that was actually an Edison project. For the most part, Debbie and her team, these guys were instrumental in coordinating that project with Southern California Edison to make sure that we didn't have any disruptions. I mean, I have a street light in front of my house. We never had a situation that we didn't have light. So what these guys do on a regular basis, we don't notice it unless something's wrong. But every day when you go through a day and you don't find a problem, okay, Public Works is who you need to thank about the reason you didn't see anything happening that was wrong today. So I want to thank you guys for what you do. What do we got? Community services. LaShawn, where are you at? Hey. I've got to tell you, we don't think, when we think about community services, we think about Parks and Rec, right? They're the guys that cut the grass in the park and you run the basketball league. Our community services department does so much more than that. Virtually everywhere we go, as we drive down the street, as we're walking down the street, we're seeing work that's done by the community services department. The police department is very visual. You see them driving around and protecting us. But community services, they are everywhere. You may not realize that our community services department, they're responsible for taking care of, they maintain all of the medians out through town. So as you're driving down Route 66 or driving down Grand Avenue, the medians in the middle of the street, those are taken care of by community services. Naturally, they take care of the parks, okay, and they do run all the leagues, but these guys also, they oversee the landscape districts. We've been having meetings about our landscape districts here in town, which is private property that's being maintained by the city. They also run the Crowther Teen and Family Center. They run the La Fetra Center. And believe it or not, the Community Services Department, they oversee our transportation department. And many of us don't even think about the transportation department we have here in Glendora. But there's a lot of people that rely on that, a lot of seniors and a lot of kids, a lot of students that rely on our transportation department. And these guys are making sure that all that stuff is running for us. Well, you know, for the most part, we got guys like Hugo Solterra and a number of different guys that are out there working on this stuff. And again, think about, you go to the parks, you drive around, you see this stuff, and what do you see? You see a broken sprinkler. And you're going, oh my God, we got a broken sprinkler. Well, we've got 100,000 sprinkler heads in town that these guys take care of. And so we are going to see one every once in a while. You may see a trash can that's overflowing, and you think about it. But for the most part, all the trash cans are empty. All the grass is cut. All the medians are maintained properly. All the trees in town are healthy. They manage 18,000 trees here in the city of Glendora. This team works on 18,000 different trees that they are responsible for here in the city of Glendora. So every once in a while, is a limb going to break off or a tree might die? You betcha. But that means there's 17,999 trees that are still pretty healthy around town that they're taking care of. So Hugo, hats off to you guys, because for the most part, as we're running around and looking at this stuff, everything is perfectly fine. We don't see those issues, and we really appreciate the hard work that everybody's putting into this. The Glendora Public Library. You know, I got to tell you, it just sort of gives you a feeling of pride to talk about the Glendora Public Library. Kurt Galley, Kurt is here. Kurt's job is the Senior Library Technician of Support Services. I don't even have a clue what that means, but I'm sure it's true. And what was funny was I talked to Janet yesterday, and I said, hey, I have in my notes here that the library hosts well over 30,000 visitors a year. And I go, I know that's wrong. That number's too low. Will you check and get back to me? And so she sent me a number last night. If you know Janet, she didn't send me a number that says it's about this. She says, okay, no, last year we had 296,413 people come through the library or whatever it was. So the only thing I can figure is I had this number of about 300,000 people and I left off a zero. So that's almost 300,000 people that go through our library every year. Think about that. And these guys take care of that. Now on top of that, on top of 300,000 people that visit our library, we have thousands of people that are members of our library through the internet. They go online and they visit our library. Now these might be people that used to live here in Glendora, grew up and moved away, okay? And they live somewhere else in the country. They'll be members of our library so they can stay in touch with what's going on here. And maybe, Kurt, that's what you do. That's what a senior library technician in support services, take care of all those people online? Okay, well, you're doing a great job of it. But one thing that we don't think about, because the library, not only do they do this for 300,000 people, and they've got all of these great programs that we all participate in and we love, they have programs that only benefit a few people here in town. They have literacy programs. In this day and age, guys, there's still adults out there who have grown up, they've gotten married, they have jobs, they've gotten through life, and they don't know how to read and write. And the library has programs to help them when the time comes that they need to make that change in their life, so they do it. The library has programs for non-English speakers. They have programs for opera lovers. Okay, you're probably not going to see me at one of your opera programs, but there is a certain segment of our community that loves opera, and they have these programs. The library helped us prepare for the eclipse last year. Okay, the amount of work and everything that you guys put into getting us ready for that eclipse so we all didn't burn out our retinas was amazing, and we had a lot of people down there that day to take care of that. The library has programs to introduce children to how to work with animals and to understand that. You don't think that would be the job of a library, and maybe it's not, but it's the job that Kurt and Janet and the whole team over at the library. And the staff is amazing. These guys do a great job. They have a lot of volunteers over there as well. But it's the people that are in there that actually do all that work that's making this happen. So we really appreciate what is going on over there. I had to share, you guys, you can't have me stand out here without talking about Gumby a little bit. most of you know now the history of Gumby and Glendora. We've been talking about it a few years, but I got to tell you that whole idea of our Gumby Festival that we had here in town, it started at a strategic planning session for the library. And it was actually Jeff Kugel pops off, we're in a meeting, and he says, I think we should hold a Gumby Festival. We're not, why would we hold a Gumby Festival? And he goes, well, I know Gumby was here, and I don't know, And so, he knew this much about it, but didn't know a whole lot about what was going on. The library staff, we talked to, it was Robin Weed Brown at the time, but it was the library staff that dug into that to try to figure out what was happening. And they discovered that Clokey Studios were here in Glendora from 1960 to 1978. Now, you can't Google that kind of information. The way they discovered it and found it out was phone books. They went through, remember the 2-inch thick phone books that we all used to get every year? They went through phone books and found in 1959, it wasn't there, but in 1960, Clokey Studios showed up in the local Glendora phone book, and it had their address and everything, and it was there every year, and it was there in 1978, but in 1979 it was gone. So that's how we first got that information through the library, and from them we contacted the studios and we got them more involved with things. So, that type of information that the library puts together, the entire staff over the library, the volunteers that are there, that's what makes Glendora Library so valuable to us. I'm going to talk a little bit about Sonia Jones. Yay, everybody. Sonia is one of those people that she does things that touches virtually every single person in the city of Glendora's lives at one point or another. We don't know about it because she just does it and takes care of it. Everybody here that works somewhere, you have that one priceless person in your organization that just sort of takes care of things and the rest of us gets credit for it. But I got to tell you, one of the unusual things about Sonia is that Jeff and Dave and Janet, you guys, you run your departments and you have a staff that work for you. Sonia, it's just the opposite. It's a staff of one. And she works for Mendel and Judy and Karen and Michael and Chris and Valerie and myself. So she's sort of upside down on this equation. But it is one of those things that there are certain people in the community that are in the city that just do their job. They take care of things. We don't recognize it. And do mistakes happen? Sure. And we recognize when those mistakes happen. But 99.999% of the time, everything just runs smooth. And Sonia, I want to thank you for that. I really appreciate what you do. Now, I was told to keep this to 20 minutes, but I'm the mayor.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Mrs. Boyer, is that okay?
Okay. The Glendora Police Department. There's not enough time to sit here and talk about the absolute best police department in the state of California. Detective Alex Stein, you're here representing the police department, but I know I've got a number of you here today. Our police department does such an amazing job of different things, but I tell people the one thing that our police department does that we don't think about, what I believe is their most important job, is to educate the rest of us. The chances of one of you guys being in front of somebody's house when a car gets broken into, very, very, very slim. Trying to catch the person that broke into that car afterwards, extremely difficult. But what our PD does that they do such a great job of is they have a lot of outreach to the community. And they talk to us about what we should be doing. And they educate us in a variety of different ways so that we can watch out for each other and work very closely with the police departments to keep Glendora as safe as it is and the kind of community that it is. Just want to touch, these guys, annually, they do the Glendora PD open house, which, has great results every year. There's a lot of people that come down to that. It's sort of a fun atmosphere, but at the same time, they're working with people and talking to them about different things they should be dealing with. They have the National Night Out. That's an outreach program for the city. You know, it's now a national program all over the country, but I'll bet there's very few communities that have the type of response that we do, unless it rains us out. You know, last year in August we got rain, so you know we had to cut it short. The Citizens Academy. I don't know if anybody in the room or how many of you have been able to participate in the Citizens Academy. I'm actually a graduate of class number 32, but we have the opportunity to go down and work with these guys and see what they have to deal with on a regular basis. When I went through the class, I shot my partner. I shot a guy holding a garden hose nozzle. And unfortunately, I shot a mentally handicapped kid. You're in these situations, it's fake to me, okay? I'm not going to get hurt. But when you're put in these situations and see what they have to deal with, but that type of outreach to educate us, to let us know what you go through on a regular basis, is just so important to us. But our PD also, they give back to the community. They do a lot of different work. You know, they were instrumental last year with the Special Olympics torch run. Every year, you guys, I'll bet everybody in this room has one of the Glendora PD pink patches. They run that program to bring awareness of the breast cancer and to raise some money, and that's run by Nancy Miranda every year. They take care of us too, the guys too, and in November, I think they use it as an excuse to look scruffy for a year, but I don't blame you. But they grow beards and mustaches, and they go out and they raise money in order to bring awareness to men's cancer issues. They also they participate in a multi-city, it's called the HALO program, helping our ever-growing homeless population. And we all know that's a serious issue, but these guys on a regular basis, they probably know the names and history of every homeless person in the city of Glendora. And they treat them with kindness and respect, but they also make sure that we are safe and they know what's going on with these guys on a regular basis. Corporal Bill Lee. Every year we have a number of events. Joe runs most of these events, but we have, you know, things down in the village. We'll have the holiday stroll. We have the Christmas parade. We have the homecoming parade, flashback, the Halloween walk. And Corporal Bill Lee, he's in charge of the traffic safety division, where these guys are out during that period while we're out having a good time. They're making sure that everybody is safe as they're crossing the streets, as they're getting to and from. They're making sure people don't drive home after they drank a little bit too much. They'll pull somebody aside and say, hey, you know, you need to call somebody to come and pick you up. So they do a tremendous job of that in helping us be safe, and we just don't even think about it. As we're out partying and having a good time, they're doing a fantastic job taking care of all of that. So what's important for all of us to know is our Glendora Police Department, they're here. They're going to be here taking care of us, and I guarantee you they're always going to be doing what they like best, which is chasing down the bad guys. I know you guys enjoy that. So, well, you know, that's a little bit about what we've done. And again, I could sit up here and give you a lot of numbers and statistics and things like that, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about the people today. Because when we talk about the city, and we all use that term, we talk about the city. The city is a group of individuals that are all working hard to make Glendora a better place. And I think as we move forward, it's important for us to understand that, and I hope you can take that away. Now, we all know Glendora is a great place to live. That's why we all live here. But where do we go from here? What's the future look like? I want to touch base on just a few things, and I know everybody's got places to be, and I want to try to keep it short. But, you know, Judy and Karen, Michael, Mendel, myself, Chris, and the department heads and members of our staff, we are constantly going to meetings. We go to regional and statewide meetings. We go to educational seminars to try to learn as much as we can. When we go to those, we are not talking about what's happened in the past and worrying about it. We're learning what to expect in the future, what's going to be coming our way, and where we're going to be a few years down the road. Michael and Judy, they're up in Sacramento right now, and I'm going to be flying up there tomorrow morning to get involved in some of these other things representing the people of Glendora. Us, your county representatives, your state representatives, even your federal representatives, we're all tasked with making decisions. Gary and Cliff did it a number of years ago. We're tasked with making decisions, trying to guess what's going to happen 20 years from now. And it's really important for everyone to understand that we need your help. We need your input on how we're going to deal with it. Let's look at housing. Housing's expensive. We are short a couple million housing units here in the state of California. The Rose Bowl, the Rose Parade just was on TV, right? Millions of overweight Midwesterners are sitting in front of their TV watching that Rose Parade, and guess what? There are thousands of them packing their cars up today and heading this way. Southern California is a great place to live. People are going to continue to come here. We're not going to stop them. There's nothing we can do to keep people from coming here. Kathy and I, we moved out here in 1978. I'm guessing most of the people in this room probably came from somewhere else. But we discovered Southern California and Glendora, and so are others. You know, where am I at? I lost my, okay. But the question is, what are we going to do with these people when they get here? Okay, we have a housing shortage right now, and we have more people coming to Southern California every day. And so we need to talk about how we're going to deal with it. Everybody's opinion that moved here from somewhere else, you thought to yourself, you know, they should have stopped letting people come to California right after I got here. That was enough. Cut it off. And especially, they should have stopped building houses right after mine was built, because we have too many places to live, you know, the traffic's too bad. So that's not going to happen. So we have to address the issue of what we're going to do with the people that are going to move here. I'm going to throw a couple of numbers at you. Glendora, between 1990 and 2000, the population grew by about 3%, where the state grew by about 10. In 2000 to 2010, the population of Glendora grew by about 1%, while the population of the state of California grew by almost 14%. It's a couple of years before the next census, but the projection is that we're going to grow by probably about 4% here in the city of Glendora, and the state's probably going to grow by about another 10%. So people are not going to stop coming. Those of you that moved here from other areas, and just like where we came from, when we go back to Ohio, to our hometown, and our hometown has had pretty much zero growth for the last 30 or 40 years. And we see a lot of vacant houses, we see boarded up businesses, we see high unemployment. Zero growth or no growth is not good for any community. We need growth in this community and in the state of California in order for us to thrive. So the question is, how do we deal with that growth? Now, we can look at the different options, and we may not like any of the options, but we have to talk about what we're going to do and how we're going to deal with it as more people choose to come here. Transportation. Gold Line. Gold Line's coming, right? You're looking at your watch? Because I got a lot more.
I was
Okay.
way over that.
But we got the Gold Line coming. And the Gold Line is going to be very disruptive to our community for the next 6-8 years. It's going to happen. Streets are going to be closed, there's going to be noise, there's going to be dust, we're all going to be inconvenienced, but we need to deal with it because it's coming whether we like it or not. And we don't want to stop it. As we're out at these various meetings, people are extremely envious of us that we have the Gold Line coming. But when you talk about transportation, you know, there's things that are changing very quickly. We have self-driving cars now. Now, you know, it's not one of those things that's going to be happening in the future. It's happening right now. I've got a friend that gets in her car in the morning, she pulls out of her driveway, she plugs in the address to her work, and she does not touch her gas pedal or steering wheel again until she gets to a parking lot of work. So this is happening right now today. How's that going to affect us in the future? Something that many of you may or may not have heard of is the idea of shared automobiles. Try to imagine going to the grocery store to pick up some groceries. You go inside, you do your shopping. When you come out, you're going to take a different car home than the one you drove to the store in. because instead of all of us having 2 automobiles, we may be sharing automobiles, similar to how we share bicycles, you know, in the bike racks where you put the money in and you ride a bike and you drop it off somewhere else. That's a strong idea that's being actually tried in different areas right now. One of the other things was prototypes right now, flying ambulances. We think about the Jetsons in the past. Well, there are actually flying ambulances being tested today where if somebody's in a traffic accident, they can pick somebody up and get them to the hospital quicker than having to go through the traffic. Think of how many lives that might save. Business, the future of business here in not only in California but around the world. It's changing dramatically how much we're doing online. But I've been to a number of shopping center conferences to try to introduce Glendora to the business world out there. And the idea of future retail, try to imagine a store the size of Andrews downtown in the village that has everything that a Nordstrom's would have. You go into the store, there's samples of the clothes, there's 1 or 2 of them, there's different sizes you can try on, but when you leave the store, you don't take the package with you. You purchase it there, you go home, and a couple of hours later, it's delivered to you at your store, or at your home. So there's different ideas like this. Now we can talk about these types of things being a problem, or we can embrace them and start planning for them, and that's where we need your feedback. Last thing I want to talk about is legislation. We all see different legislation coming to our way on a regular basis. We look at things and we worry about decisions that are being made. We're dealing with the MS4 permit that's going to cost the city of Glendora $233 million to implement. The people that are supportive of the MS4 permit, they're not bad people. They don't want to bankrupt the city of Glendora or every other city in Los Angeles County. They want clean water. We want clean water. We all want the same things, we just disagree on how to get to it. But we need to talk about how we're going to achieve some of these things. There's some new legislation coming our way. When we look at how AB 109 and SB or Props 47 and 57 has affected law enforcement, it's really put a big burden on these guys. But the people that made the decision to do those, they didn't want to put bad guys back in our neighborhoods. They have a different idea of how to deal with incarceration than what I may have. But it's the type of thing, again, we need to have conversations about this so we can try to come up with compromises that we can work together on. We've got some propositions coming our way. We've got the minimum wage increases. We've got AB 387, 421, and 570, all being proposed that are supposed to help employees. And I look at these bills as a business owner, and I think it may cost us jobs. So we disagree on the issue, but we need to talk about how we can deal with them. We've got one coming our way that we're going to be talking a lot about. It's SB 837, and this has to do, there's a young man from San Francisco, he lives in San Francisco, that he's proposing that within a half a mile of a train station and a quarter of a mile of any premium bus stop, all zoning, local zoning rules are out the window, which means that within a half mile of a train station or a quarter mile of one of our main bus stops here in town, it could build up to an 85-foot tall multi-family building, and there's nothing that we here in the city of Glendora can do to stop it. Now, he's from San Francisco, so that makes sense in San Francisco, doesn't make sense in Glendora. So I've spoken to him. We need to talk about these things so that we understand the effects that it may have on all of us. So, jumping up and getting angry and yelling at the top of your lungs when things happen that you don't like, it doesn't solve anything. What we need to do, we need to come up with ideas and talk about ways that we can accomplish these things together. We all want Glendora, California to be the best place in the country to live, and it's just a matter of figuring out how to get there. Well, if I can ask that you take anything away from what I've shared with you today, I want you to think about the future and stop concentrating on the mistakes of the past. We've all made mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. But let's figure out how we can move forward as we continue to do this. And I want especially everyone to remember when you get up tomorrow morning and you get in the shower, I want you to think about Steve Patton and all the guys over the water department. They're on the other side of that water line coming to your house, making sure that your water is there, it's hot, it's clean, and you got plenty of it. Thank you very much.